Whether you are a WordPress beginner, a freelancer, or a web agency, you've probably already heard of or even used page builders to create beautiful websites, and you may even have tried our free Spectra website visual builder built on top of the WordPress core. And if that's the case, you're probably part of the many people who have been asking this simple question: when will Spectra Pro be available? Well, today, after a ton of cups of coffee and endless sleepless nights, it's finally here. And let me tell you, Spectra Pro will take your WordPress website creation to another level with many enhancements, among which the introduction of the Loop Builder block, the dynamic data extension, the long-awaited pop-up builder, and much more. Yeah, you're welcome. Hello, I'm Kay from the Spectra team, and today I'm so excited to walk you through the first version of the Spectra Pro website visual builder plugin. Now, the free version of Spectra is awesome and has already been installed more than 500,000 times. And the free version already allows you to create beautiful websites with a drag and drop no-code approach. But now, let's take a look at what Spectra Pro brings to the table. How to set up Spectra Pro? Well, very simple. Once you've gone to Plugins, Add New, you click on Upload Plugin. Select the zip file of Spectra Pro on your computer, then click on Install and then Activate. Once you've activated Spectra Pro, you want to go to Spectra, Dashboard, then you want to click on the Block Extensions tab and click on the Pro tag. And here you will find the Instagram feed, the login form, the registration form, the dynamic content extension, and the loop builder. And you can activate and deactivate each one individually. Next, go to Settings, License, and paste your license key that you received when you purchased Spectra Pro. Your license will allow you to get professional support and automatic updates from your WordPress dashboard. Now, at the time of recording this video, Spectra Pro is not officially out yet, so I won't be able to validate the license key for this tutorial. But by the time you watch this video, it means that Spectra Pro is officially out. So just paste your license key and click on Activate. Next, when editing a page in WordPress, click on the plus sign to see the blocks available. Scroll down until you see Spectra Pro. And here you will find the login form, the registration form, the Instagram feed, and the loop builder. And of course, in the future, you will see all the upcoming Spectra Pro blocks. So as you can see, setting up Spectra Pro is super easy so that you have more time to play with it. And let's start with the new loop builder block, which allows you to create custom post loops with tons of customization options. So to showcase what it can do, I created this page. So first of all, we have portrait layout 1, and that looks like a blog archive because it is, because I've used the blog post type. But as you'll see, you can use custom post types too. So here we got the image, then the time of posting, the title, the description, and a read more button. Then we have portrait layout 2. It's a bit different, not the same information, because here we got the categories. We don't have the time here. We have the title, description, and the avatar. And if you're using Gravatar, you can have your own image. Next, we have the landscape layout, pretty modern layout. We have the image on the left-hand side, and then we have some more meta information on the right-hand side. Next, we have a box layout. This is more of a banner style layout. So if you fancy this, it's now available as an option. Next, we have the option to create from scratch. So you can start blank and really start building it. So you can pretty much create anything you want in terms of what you want to showcase with the loop builder. And as I told you, you can also use custom post types. So let me show you. So first of all, I used the free version of ACF to create a custom post type called tutors. Now the next step was to actually add some content, and I created 4 tutors. Next, while editing my page, I added a loop builder block. So let me zoom back out. Let me open the document overview. And this is the loop builder that I added. So first of all, here in general, I can select the post type that I want. And as you can see, I selected my custom post type tutor, but I could have chosen posts, which are the blog posts, or even pages. Okay, let me zoom back out. Next, I can decide the number of posts per page. So here it says 5, but I only have 4. But let me show you. If I just put 1, and I guess you'll guess what's next, 2, 3, and 4. So I could have more, and I can even decide to have a post offset. So let's say I want to have 3, but I don't want the first post to show. So I can have an offset of 1. And as you can see, I've shifted the position of the first element. Let me go back to 0, and it's back to normal. So let me put it back at 4 posts per page. So this is very powerful because now you can use your own custom post types with the Loop Builder. Now the Loop Builder itself comes with a lot of options. So with my Loop Builder selected, you've already seen that I can change the post type, the post per page, the offset, but I can also change the order. So right now it's descending, but let me change the order to ascending. And now it reversed the order and it's based on the date, which you find in the next dropdown, order by, and here it's order by date. So ascending by date the post was created, but it could be by title, as you see here. It could also be by author, but it's the same author, so it won't change much. But if you have several authors, it may make the difference, or by last modified. Okay, but let's put it back to date and let's put it back to descending. And if I click on the wrapper, I have more options now. I can show the number of columns. So here I have 4, but let's say I want 2. There you go. And I can change the column gap. Let's put it back to 30 and let's put the number of columns back to 4. And let me update. Now, whether you want to use the Loop Builder block for traditional blog posts or for custom post types, it's really going to bring a new dimension to your websites because now you can make your dynamic content look exactly the way you want. Next, the new dynamic content extension allows you to display text and images dynamically across your website with Spectra blocks. So, once you've gone to Spectra, Dashboard, Blocks Extensions, make sure you select Pro and make sure that dynamic content is toggled on. And then once the extension is activated in WordPress, I can just start pulling content from the database. So as you can see here, we have our featured image, post title, and post excerpt. So let me select my featured image. Let me close this. So with my featured image selected, we see on the right hand side in the general panel that the dynamic image toggle is on. Now let me turn this off. And as you can see, if I turn it off, this is the regular image selection. So I can upload, take from the media library, or insert from a URL. But now let me click back on that icon here, database icon. And as you can see, we have our image back and it's pulling it straight from the database. Now, how does it know this? So let's say I wanted to pull the image from this custom post type. So I'm just going to copy this text and now back in WordPress with my image selected, where it says search post, I'm going to open the drop down and I'm just going to remove the text from the search field. And then I'm just going to paste Jane Doe, which I just copied. Here it is. Let me click on this. Next, let me select post custom field. And finally, let me choose the Tudor image custom field. Let me zoom back out and let's click on update. And voila, as you can see, we've dynamically pulled that image from the database. But let's revert back. Now, when it comes to the title, it's the same thing. So let me select the title. And the only difference is that we got this pop-up here, but the principle is the same. First of all, you need to enable dynamic content, select the data source. You can search posts and select the source field. Next, you can also enable a link. And by the way, you could also do it for the image. And you can select the link source. It could be post permalink, comments area, featured image, post custom field, avatar, and author. Next, you can also replace full content, or you can go to the advanced options. Let me show you. And let's say that you don't want to alter the title of the blog post because you want it to stay that way in the database, but still you want to add a newsbreak label. So here where it says before, let me write newsbreak. And now if I click on update, as you can see, the changes are reflected. But the good news is that in the database, the title of the blog post is still this, which could be interesting for SEO purposes. So let me remove this, click on updates, and voila, back to normal. Now for the description, it's exactly the same than for the title, so you should now know how to use it. And now if we take a look at the front end, we got our image and our text pulled dynamically from the database. And by the way, talking about that, you can change that option if you go in the WordPress admin, you go to Spectra, Dashboard, then click on the Settings tab, Editor Options, and as you scroll down, you can see here Dynamic Content. So choose how you want to display dynamic content settings. So either a pop-up or a sidebar. Next, the Spectra Visual Website Builder now comes with a pop-up builder, and that's awesome. Now it's also available in the free version, but in the pro version, you can select which type of trigger you want, and you can also select on which page, post, or custom post type you want the pop-ups to be displayed. So for example, here I'm going to showcase what you can do with the pro version. So let me refresh. And first of all, you see this pop-up here at the bottom, this banner. So we have a counter on it, and I can just close it. So that was the first trigger on load. Now the next trigger is what you see here, trigger me. So if I click on this button, as you can see, I triggered this pop-up, and I can just close it by clicking here, or I could have a custom close button here, or I could just click on the overlay. But I can change the options for all of that. Now another example of a trigger pop-up could be a full screen navigation, as you see here on screen. Now another type of pop-up is the exit intent pop-up. So pay a close look to the mouse pointer here. And let me bring in the tab view. So as the mouse pointer is going to go up to reach for another tab, look at what happens. As you can see, it triggered an exit intent pop-up, prompting the user to make a decision. Yes, I want a discount, or no, let me pay 100%. Of course you want a discount. After all, it was a one-time offer. Well, now let's take a look in WordPress to see how it works behind the scenes. So first of all, you want to go to Spectra, Pop-Up Builder, and this is where all your pop-ups are going to live. So when you want to create a new pop-up, click on Create Pop-Up, give your pop-up a name, and here you can select whether you want an info bar or a pop-up. And if I click on info bar, this is actually what I've used for the pop-up unload on the demo page. Whereas for this one, or this one, I've used the pop-up option. So now let me open the document overview, and with my pop-up builder selected, let's take a look at some of the options. But before we do that, just a word to say that you can build your pop-ups exactly the same way that you would build a page with Spectra blocks. And that means that you have full creativity in that regard. So first of all, here we got our pop-up width, pop-up height. You can fix the vertical alignment. You can change the pop-up alignment. And you can decide whether or not you want to use an overlay and whether or not you want to prevent background interaction. Next, and very important, we got the close subtab. And here we have a CSS class. So by clicking on it, you can just copy this class. And this is how you can use this button to close this pop-up. How? Very easy. Let me click on this block. And next, I want to go to Advanced one more time. And where it says additional CSS classes is where you want to paste this class. And now when you're in the front end, when you click on Close Me, there you go. It closes the pop-up. But now if we go back to editing our page, in the top right corner, you will see the Spectra page settings icon. So just click on the icon, and now you can select the trigger type. As you can see here, the trigger type is element. So once again, I have a CSS class to trigger that element. And I'm going to use that in a moment. But for now, let me show you the other types. Exit intent, as we saw, and load. And if you choose load, you can delay in seconds. You can say, I want this pop-up to appear after 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and so on. Next, you got your display conditions. You can choose to display on the entire website. You can pick a specific page or post. Or if you decide to display that pop-up on the entire website, you also have access to exclude options. Next, you can also decide whether or not you want to repeat this infinitely. So if it's a loading type, for example, let's say that you only want people to see this pop-up once, then you would toggle this off. And obviously, if you want it to show more than once, you could repeat infinitely. Now, if you toggle off the infinite option, you can also decide the number of repetitions per browser. But let's put the trigger type back to element. And as I told you previously, here you also have a class that allows you to trigger that pop-up. So as you click on it, it's going to copy that class. And now if we move to our other page with our trigger, if I click on this button here, go to the Advanced tab, Advanced, and again, all I have to do is paste that class here. And now as I click on this button, voila, I've manually triggered that pop-up. So as you can see, the pop-up builder is pretty powerful and one of my personal favorite features of Spectra Pro. Because with the pop-up builder, you can build a lot of things and you can make your website way more interactive. Next, MotoBlock Pro options. So the free version of Spectra already comes with the MotoBlock, but let's take a look at what the Pro version brings to the table. So first of all, you can decide whether you want a pop-up, as you can see here, or an off-canvas panel. And the next enhancement with the Pro version is that you can now select between multiple block entry animations. So for example, here we have the default one, which is a fade in. Here we have the scale. And next you have the slide in. And of course, you can also show this off canvas panel on the right hand side. And you can also decide on the placement of the close icon. So here I've really placed it on the left, so it's a bit extreme, but it was just to show you that it's possible. And this placement may be more appropriate for the mobile responsive version. Now in the backend, if I select my modal block, here in general, as we saw, we can decide whether or not it's a pop-up or a left or right of canvas panel. We can choose the appear effect, the position. But now if we go in the trigger sub-tab and where it says modal trigger, if you select automatic, you can now decide how you want to display this modal. It can be on exit intent, as we saw previously with the pop-up builder. It could be on load after a few seconds. So by default, the number of seconds is 5. And then one very interesting feature, you can enable cookies. So if I enable cookies and I set the cookies on close action, but I could also set it on page refresh. So basically when someone is going to close that modal pop-up, I can decide I want to hide it for a number of days. So it's going to set a cookie on the browser of that user. So let's say I want to hide it for 164 days, because why not? Well, all I have to do is just click on update and the cookie is going to be set. Now, of course, that looks a bit extreme. More than likely, you would just add it for a few days. So that's a super powerful feature because you've probably already experienced that, but it can be annoying when you get the same pop-up over and over again. So now with this feature, you can make your website more user-friendly. Next, Animations Pro options. So animations are already part of the free version of Spectra, but let's take a look at what we can do with the Pro version. So let me refresh this page. And as you can see, it was different for both buttons. Let me do it one more time. So now with the Pro version of Spectra, you can add the duration, which is the 400 that you see here in the first button. So 400 milliseconds for the duration of the animation, 300 for the delay. And we now have pacing options with easing, and the option here is ease. Whereas for the second one, the duration is 800, the delay is 500, and the pacing option is linear easing. So let me zoom back out, and now let me do it one more time, and voila. Now let me scroll, and now as you can see, we have repeat on scroll button. So if I scroll back up, you can see that these do not animate. They're just a one-off. But this one, as I scroll back down, it's repeating on scroll. And if you go to the back end, let me show you. So if I select my button and then go to advanced, I can of course select my animation, and now I can set the animation duration and delay as we saw. But then under the animation easing options, you see we have an option that says play repeatedly on scroll. So let me zoom back out, and if I scroll down, this is the one I've used here. So let me select it, go to advanced, and as you can see, I toggle this option on. And that's why on the back end, every time I scroll down, it's going to animate indefinitely. And in some cases, that could be pretty handy. But as you see, now you can do so many things with animations. You got more control, and you can once again make your website more interactive. Next, the new Instagram feed block. And with this block, you can add breathtaking live feeds from an Instagram profile to your website. And I'm not just saying it's breathtaking because I took those pictures, of course. So to add your feed in WordPress, you want to go to Spectra, Dashboard. Then make sure you click on the Block and Extensions tab. And you can filter by clicking on the Pro tag. Next, make sure the Instagram feed is toggled on. Next, click on Settings, Integrations, and click on Link a Personal Account. Next, fill in your Instagram personal profile details and click on Login. You will then see this prompt and click on Allow. Your personal account is being linked, as you can see here. And there you go, your personal account is now linked. Next, Image Gallery Pro options. So now with Spectra Pro, you can add custom URLs to each image in an image gallery block. So let's take a look. The first one sends us to Google. The second sends us to the Astra theme website. The third sends us to the Spectra plugin website. And the fourth sends us to the Starter template website. And it's pretty easy. So basically, once you've added your image gallery Spectra block, all you have to do is click on the document overview, select your image gallery block, and here you see we have some links icons. So all you need to do is click on each link icon and then just paste the URL that you want this image to redirect to. And if you're done, you can just close this pop-up. Or if you want to go straight to the next image, click on next. And as you can see, I already inserted those URLs. So I can close this and click on update. And there you go, as simple as that. Next, introducing the new login form block. So with this block, you can design beautiful login forms for your returning members. And this is the way it looks in WordPress. So once you found the login form Spectra block, just select your form. So here I'm just going to open the document overview and select my form from here. I could have just also clicked in the canvas. And now you can see on the right hand side we have a few options. So if you open the login form tab, you can change the placeholders like username, password, forgot password label, and you can also change the forgot password link. You can open in a new window, add no follow, hide icon. Now you can also show the register information, which is what you see right here. Don't have an account, register. And you can also decide to open this registration link in a new window and add no follow. Next, we have the login button where you can add an icon. You can change icons very easily. You can set the alignment of the button, choose its size. Next, you can view success and error messages. Add redirects. So for example, redirect after login and redirect after logout. And you can also add Google reCAPTCHA. And of course, if you click on the Style tab, you also get access to a ton of customization options like form controls, field labels, input fields, eye icon, link, login button, register information, success error message, and you can add some box shadow. So a very simple yet powerful way to tailor the login experience to your own brand. Next, introducing the new registration form block. Now this block serves a very simple purpose, converting your website visitors into members. Now this block is very similar to the new login form block. So once you found the registration form Spectra Pro block, you will see this message. To use registration form on your site, please enable the anyone can register setting from the dashboard settings, general membership. So let's do that now. So in the WordPress dashboard, you want to go to settings, general, and then under membership, you want to select the option anyone can register. Then scroll down and click on save changes. Okay, now let's go back to our page and let's refresh the page. And there you go. The message is gone, which means that you can now display your registration form on your website. Now for the rest, it's very similar to the login form. So if I select my registration form here in the document overview, as you can see, the options appear in the right sidebar, starting with the registration form. So here you can select the new user role. By default, it's set to subscriber, but you could change this, but be careful. Next, you can decide to hide the label, hide icon, show login information. So this is the link that you see here. With the sentence, have already an account, log in. You can add the login link and decide to open in a new window and add no follow. Next, you can change the overall alignment. You can customize the register button, the after registration actions, like here we have auto login, but you could add redirect or even send email. But let me remove this for the time being. You can edit validation messages and there are a bunch here. You can view success messages, error messages, and field error message. And just like for the login form, you can add Google reCAPTCHA. Now, once again, if you click on the Style tab, you have a ton of customization options, starting with form controls, field labels, input fields, then register button, login information, success error message, and box shadow. With this block, it's now super easy to add a registration form on your website and make it match your brand. Next, Slider Pro options. So with Spectra Pro, you now have the ability to add multiple slides per view. You can also add a focus mode. So as you can see here, we only have one slide in focus, but we can see part of the other slides on each side. Next, you can also add a custom navigation. So here, instead of the usual controls, I've added a couple of buttons and I can click from one to the other. And last but not least, you can now directly access the slide of a slider by its own URL. So in the backend, it's very easy. So with my slider selected, I click on the slider subtab in the right sidebar. And here you can see the slice per view option. So let me change this to 3 or to 1. So you really have total control. And you can also go by increments. Next, let's take a look at the focus mode. So on this slider, all you need to do is go to the General tab, Slider, and then scroll down. And where it says Slider Style, you want to change from Normal to Focus. As simple as that. Now let's take a look at the next slider with the Custom Navigation. So here with the slider selected, the first step is to go to the General tab, then scroll down, click on Navigation, and you want to disable the arrows and the dots. But you want to enable the custom navigation. And when you do that, you'll see this message. You can use this as a class to target previous elements and this as a class to target next elements to create your custom links to navigate the slider. So that's very easy. So for the previous one, you'd copy this, right click and copy. Now let's zoom back out. Then I'm going to click on my previous button, then click on the Advanced tab, and where it says Additional CSS Classes, just paste what you just copied. Now repeat the operation for the next slide button by copying the right class and pasting it also in Advanced Additional CSS Classes. Then click on Update and you're set. And last but not least, you can now access a specific slide by its own URL. So for that, first of all, you want to select your slider in the document overview. Then you want to make sure you open the slider tab, scroll all the way down, and where you see Enable Hash Navigation, you want to toggle this on. Next, still with the document overview open, you want to expand the slider and select each slider child. So let me open this one. And as you can see, the first thing you see is the navigation slug. So I gave it the name of Focus 1, second is Focus 2, and third, as you may have guessed, is Focus 3. Let me update my work. And now if I open my browser and paste the URL with the slug that I added, there you go, it went straight to Focus 2, which is the URL that I pasted. Next, Countdown Block Pro options. So now with Spectra Pro, the Countdown block comes with additional options. Let's take a look. And let's start with the evergreen options. So if I click on it, as you can see, we have like 56 seconds left. And back in WordPress, if we select our countdown block, then go to General, as you can see here, instead of a date, we can set the number of days, hours, and minutes that we want to set the evergreen countdown to. We can also decide to reset it after a number of days. So when the new user accesses that countdown, it will always see the same time. In this case, 1 minute. Next, the hide option. So let's see it in action. So right now I have about 30 seconds left before the hide option comes into effect. And once that time is up and I come back to this page, this is what I'll see. Nothing. And this can be super interesting if, let's say, you have a seasonal offer and you don't want to come back and manually take down the countdown. You just want it to happen automatically. So in the WordPress backend, once you selected your countdown, of course you want to go to the General tab and set in your date as you would usually do for a countdown. And then you want to go to Expiry Settings. And here you want to click on Hide. Next, Redirect. So let's see it in action. And as you can see, it briefly went to the page, but then right away went to the Spectra website. So what happened here? So back in WordPress with our countdown block selected, if you go to Expiry Settings and click on Redirect, you now have the option to add a link and redirect to that URL. Next, Countdown Replace. So let's see it in action. And instead of a countdown, what we see is that text. That offer is gone forever and ever and ever. So what happened? So once again, in WordPress with our countdown block selected, you want to go to General, Expiry Settings, and then select Replace. And here with the countdown selected, you will see Live and Expired. So this is the live countdown and this is expired. And here you can basically add whatever you want. Here I've added text, but you can click on the plus sign and you can add an image block. For example, let me add this, choose from the media library and pick this image. Click on Select, Update, and now if I go back on the front end, changes are reflected. Now you may already know this, but in case you don't, Where does Spectra and Spectra Pro fit in the WordPress ecosystem? So the first thing you need to create your own website and publish it to the world is web hosting or a server where you can physically host the files of the website. Then you need a domain name, and then unless you code everything by hand, you need some kind of software. And the software we're using is called WordPress. Now, WordPress is the most popular platform when it comes to publishing websites, and by most popular, we mean most popular in the whole wide world. So WordPress is very powerful, and the way it displays the design of a website is through an item called a theme. For example, the Astra theme or the Spectra One theme, which is the theme I've been using in the demo for this video. But hey, one quick word here to clarify that Spectra Pro works with any WordPress theme, not just Astra or Spectra One. Now, some themes come with libraries, like starter templates for example, where you can install a beautiful design in one click. Next, page builders come into play. Page builders like, you guessed it, Spectra and Spectra Pro. Because now you have a visual website editor with drag and drop tools so that you can create beautiful, modern and complex layouts without a single line of code. So now instead of having to rely on an external developer anytime you want to change the layout of your website, you can now do it yourself with Spectra and Spectra Pro. The free version of Spectra is awesome and you can build amazing websites with it. But as you've seen in this video, the loop builder, the dynamic content extension, and the pop-up builder alone are worth upgrading to Spectra Pro because they expand the possibilities when it comes to creating dynamic and interactive websites with WordPress. Better yet, Spectra Pro works with all WordPress themes, classic themes like Astra, or block themes like Spectra One. So it's fully ready for the future. So if you're serious about building websites, and if you're looking for a page builder that works with the default WordPress editor, which by the way brings the added benefits of speed, security, and ease of use, especially if you're already familiar with the WordPress editor, then Spectra Pro is the tool you've been waiting for. And bear in mind, this is just the beginning. So if you're interested by Spectra Pro, you'll find a link in the description below. Now, our developers still have a ton of coffee left, so tell us, which feature would you like to see in Spectra Pro in the future? Please let us know in the comments below.